UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. This is your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. I'm your werewolf. Happy Easter, everybody. Happy Easter to my colleague with me today, Artificer Joni. Say hello, Artificer Joni.
Terve, terve. Hei hei. And hyvää pääsiäistä. Good happy Easter everybody.
I don't know who's in the chat right now, but I'm seeing two. But we're gonna keep going. I know everybody's else is also in Easter right now. We're doing a WCR during Easter time, which is I gotta say, usually when I do these on Sundays, it's not really the best at times. But we do have Eloise Dotto with us. Hello, Eloise, and happy Easter
Hello.
to you too. But yeah, I always have the worst luck when it comes to doing this stuff on weekends, and then on top of that, I have to do this on my time or the usual regular time with this, which everybody's the most active around this time still, unless we get to the evening. That's when everybody's finally wind down. But hopefully, as we continue, we'll get more people in, or at least people have already done their church and are now arriving home. Which I'm not expecting anybody to rush, and get out here and chill with the commander and chill with Yoni with me today. I don't expect that. If you guys got family things to do, go ahead and do it. I'm not holding anybody hostage here. I'm saying that right now. Family comes first. So if you're here to stay, welcome. If you're here to hit that like and give us a shout out, do that. Go spend time with your family, even though especially when we're in this very tumultuous time. But let me stop wasting time here, and let me tell you what we're doing today with Joni here. We are going to talk about Finnish folklore, which I'm going to let Joni do most of the talking here on that, because I have no idea about anything Finnish folklore wise. I mean, I'm familiar with Christian theology and Christian mythology. I'm familiar with Greek mythology. I'm somewhat familiar with Norse mythology. Heck, dare I say it, if I want to put race into this, I don't even know African mythology, which I'm not even African. Let's not beat around the bush. I'm not even African in that regard. I'm an Black American, of course. I can only tell you black traditions here, but other than that, like, I gotta say, this is a nice thing to bring up, Joni, that you want to share culture with me as per mandate of Will Commander Reynolds. I really am glad that you are stepping up to that plate to share culture, which is what I've been trying to push for the longest time with this stream idea. Sharing culture, as in sharing American culture, sharing Finnish culture, sharing any kind of culture across the board. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't you say that are we really on that journey right now, Joni? Do you feel confident in saying that we're on that journey to share culture like we used to do way back when?
Yes. And it's only through sharing culture that we can truly learn about each other, to truly start understanding each other. And
Go ahead.
and I've been thinking about that even if that learning is a three-part process. You learn, you know, and hopefully later you understand.
Understanding is the key part about that, definitely.
Indeed. And perhaps I should start with perhaps a light-hearted story that's appropriate to Easter. That that Finnish folklore has all kinds of funny anecdotes about various animals and how they were created. And at least with eels, yes, those funny, very long fish that uh, Finnish folklore has a couple of creation stories for them. And in one version, they're created by the devil, but Jesus, who sees them, asks the eel, "Are you a fish or are a snake?" And the eel says, "I am a fish, sir." And Jesus draws a little cross on their heads so that people can see that they are indeed fish and not snakes. And another story says that uh, eels were created when the Noah's Ark sprung a leak and a fish stuck its head there. And that's how they got their long shape. And another story is that the devil tried creating horses but could not make them uh, give them life. So God took and put the breath into them and gave them life. But oh, some more perhaps Finnish ancient Finnish beliefs would be perhaps the story of Ikuturso, a sea monster, also called Ikuturso, äijänpoika, partalainen, a bearded monster that lives in the sea and can even come up through the relatively shallow lakes by swimming up through the bottom from the underworld. And he might have been old war god, and he's very much described in ways that makes you think of H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu with tentacular beards and squid-like, frog-like features, and he is featured in the Donald Duck story, The Quest for Kalevala. He's the froggy fellow that is summoned by Louhi.
Can you
And
put that in the private chat so I can look that up,
oh yeah,
please?
sure. Louhi is the mistress of the north, uh, a witch of great strength and power. Uh, but folklore isn't just myth; it's also the more, shall we say, day-to-day life. And there we have lots of different traditions that today might sound a bit funny, but back in the day they were life and death. And one such concept is the elättieläin, where people would take snakes and keep them in their barns and even give them milk. In fact, back in the day, when you first gave milk to milk the cow, you would give the first milk to a snake so that the snake would protect your barn. And this old tradition was in use for a very long time, even in the late 18th century, maybe even into the 19th century. And
Oh, give me some of that history talk
yeah,
there. Give me
yeah,
some of that, Yoni.
yeah. And a similar tradition was elättihaukki, where you would put a pike, the fish, in a well. And that's actually a very good method of keeping the well clean, because it would eat parasites, small animals that would fall in there. And if somebody tried poisoning your well, then you'd see if the pike was alive or not.
Hmm.
Yeah, and pikes had very strong magical power. Uh, the
Pikes.
yeah, pikes. Uh, PI. Koe. I can write in the public chat.
Pei
Koe. Yeah,
ko e.
yeah. I'm so used to the Finnish version of the alphabet that it comes automatically as that. Piki. I think. Yeah. 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 People would use their teeth to pick out tooth snakes or toothworms. Toothworms were the cause of all pains and aches of the teeth and the mouth. And teeth in general were very important in magical tradition here in Finland. In fact, uh, if you lost all your teeth, well, you couldn't do magic anymore. And
I think I
there
heard something similar to that
yeah, it's
from a
teeth.
movie. I mean,
Yeah, it's a surprisingly common thought that comes around the world that teeth hold a magical power, and there's a similar thought about a thing in voodoo, where because teeth come from a person, they hold up part of the person's magical power or soul. And the same thing applies with hair, and even in Finnish folklore, if you took a piece of a person's hair, you could use them in curses and such.
hmm. I remember hair being a magical thing with witches. I think in American legend,
Hmm.
which
Yeah,
inspired Bayonetta's weave attacks in the game Bayonetta.
indeed. Um, let's see.
Take your
Oh,
time, Yoni.
oh yeah. It's just uh, really when you write a note, you might not remember exactly why you wrote it. So, uh, hmm. But oh yeah, birds. Birds were very important in Finnish folklore and
Dirge.
birds. You know,
Oh,
keep
birds.
yeah, yeah, flying things and yeah,
Avians.
yeah, avians. Yeah, Finns used to believe that birds would carry their souls to heaven, and even today you can see pictures of birds on Finnish gravestones. And one concept that in particular is the sielunintu uh, concept, where birds would
I'm sorry. Repeat that.
sielunlintu. I can write in the
Siolinto.
yes, sielunlintu.
S- Siolinto. Think I said it in in an Italian accent there.
A bit, yeah. But uh, anytime you
Troy would
touch,
be Troy would blush at that. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Continue what you're saying.
yeah, yeah. So that a sielunlintu would guard and keep your soul, and uh, another bird-themed folk belief is the iholintu or ihohiiri tai elolintu or
Ihohiri.
elohiiri.
Elohiri.
Joo,
I think I
elohiiri.
said that with a D. You said it with a D, right?
Uh, no, let's see. There we go. Elohiiri. That's all the
It should pop up in the stream
inadvertent
soon.
inadvertent muscle spasms, twitches, and so such. And
Oh.
these were
Okay, okay. I'm gonna
yeah.
give it a try again. I'm
Hmm?
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there, Joey, but
Oh,
I want to try again. Uh, Elohiri.
uh, Elohiiri.
I'm sorry, Elohiri.
R with an R.
Arr.
Elohiiri.
Elohiri. It's almost like
Uh,
you're taking me to school in that regard.
Doc
So would
Johnny's
that be a
language lessons, part 1, part 2.
so would that be a 5 out of 10 on the third attempt?
Uh, I'd say I'd give it a 5 or a 6 out of 10. It
You're too
needs work.
kind, Yoni. You're too kind.
Hey,
Just tell me I suck. I'll feel better about it. No kidding.
hey,
Go
it's only
ahead.
the third attempt, so even in language lessons, you're usually given like 10 tries before you're uh, graded. So
Hmm.
I keep one has to keep a sense of scale and what's the word I'm looking for? Well, scale works good enough.
Muscle memory could take could be a factor too.
Hmm. And
Would
and
you
also
agree?
you just
Maybe.
heard the word, so usually in language lessons you hear the word at least a dozen times before you're asked to copy it.
There's also Rosetta Stone.
Hmm. And Finnish.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like I don't like that. I don't like you saying that. You don't seem that confident in Rosetta Stone there. No, I'm kidding. Oh, we have Sam Proctor in.
Oh, hey, excellent, thanks. Always good to get more guests that will help because I really want people to ask questions so that I can uh, grease my brains. Hey, that sounds a bit weird. Grease the wheels a bit for the conversation. Uh, but
That's
yes,
gonna happen eventually.
Elohiri, yeah, all the and inadvertent twitches and movements of the skin, and those were considered omens. Uh,
Push pause on that real quick,
oh,
Johnny. Sorry. Eloise says, I hope the SEO file joins. I just sent him a link. Is that a friend of yours, uh, Eloise? I'm willing to see new people anyway, so thank you for doing that. Oh, and we have Brian, the Maverick Hunter saying Brian Gilmore. He said, "Sorry, I'm late, fam. I'm at my cousin's house for Easter dinner." Now, if you have to dip out early, Brian Gilmore, and that goes for everybody here as well listening. If you have to dip out early to spend time with Easter dinner with your family, do so. Family do come first now, guys. I'm a powerful proponent of family comes first. We're just here to pass the time, of course. And of course, this has been a topic that Johnny has brought to my attention that he's been wanting to talk to. And of course, I keep stalling him, and I don't mean to do that. So, Johnny, take it away. Keep going.
oh,
You got this, buddy.
oh, thanks. And yeah, I agree. Family comes first, and I did not consider that the time zone difference would mean that the people are just coming home from church and such. So, but yeah, Elohiri omens, and it depended on where on the body it happened. If you're like finger twitches, it might not mean much, but if it's in your a big spot in your arm, that was considered bad, and especially if you were older and older, it was considered an omen of coming death, with the exception of twitches around the eye. Those were considered almost lucky, and whew, very. And speaking of omens and luck, uh, ravens, crows, and such were considered birds of ill omen.
Ill
Birds of
omen,
Yeah, birds of ill omen of
as
death.
usual. It's always
Yeah,
about crows.
yes. Uh, and although there were
I want to
exceptions,
say something about that, but continue talking, Yoni.
yeah, magpies in particular were considered dangerous and cursed because they laughed. They laughed at you. And they were considered very bad if you were hunting. If you heard magpies, crows, and ravens laughing, oh, you would better just stop the hunting trip right there and go home. Just, just just stop. Uh, the exception to this was that if a magpie is in front of your door and jumping and dancing and laughing, that's one of the few times a magpie was considered good luck, because that means that you're gonna get a guest soon, a friendly guest.
Hmm.
And uh, magpies had this story of how they got their fancy white coats. It's because they were ancient Finns believed that magpies would fly fly during winter to the south, um, or not so much the south as uh, the home of birds, but you know, and there the magpies found a very fancy uh, 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 coat or apron, and the magpies put them on, and oh dear, there's the owner of the apron, and so they had to fly back to Finland, and now they can never go back because they would be slapped and punished for stealing. And
Hmm.
yeah, and that's another part where crows, ravens, and uh, magpies were considered good luck if they brought you something back which they had stolen. That would mean that's one of the few times they would bring you good luck. And because birds in general were considered uh, magical, there's a spell that, or old poem that speaks of how how you can tell what's the weather gonna be, uh, or when the spring is gonna come. Kuu kiurusta kesään, puolikuuta peipposesta, vast,
Put in the
vast,
comments as you're saying that for the people in the back, by the way.
oh, give me a moment. Kuu kiurusta kesään, puolikuuta peipposesta, västä räkestä, västäräkistä vähäsän, pääskysestä ei päivääkään. A month from a skylark to summer, half a moon from a finch, only a day or two from a white wagtail, from a swallow, not even a day until summer.
So we have Eloise has explained that she has made an internet friend from Finland, and, and she said he would love to join, but he's at work right now.
Ah,
So Eloise, let him know that we appreciate his enthusiasm, and hopefully, if we do this again Sunday, hopefully he'll be able to join us.
yeah,
So
yeah,
thank you for again, thank you for attempting to bring more watchers on your part. So thank you for that. Go ahead, Joni.
yeah. And thank you, Alois. And I understand the OSL files problems, as that's usually my work hours on a weekday. So yeah, he that means he works night shift. So I understand you, bro. I understand.
Just let him know he can catch this on the back watch,
Hmm.
so he can get an idea of what WCR does, which is share culture as well. Upon talking about topics that are like that we don't really talk about that much, like we used to, like back in the '90s, of course. And it's like, think of it like as a round table college quad, if you will,
Hmm.
where we sit around and socialize, right, Joni?
Yeah, yeah. We have. I have had like similar things when I was back in school. We'd like grab a table, sit around, and just talk about things.
Hmm. Continue, Joni. I didn't mean to derail you
No,
there.
it's okay. Uh, and of course, there were every once in a while when you do get sick, there were various cures and spells to help you. One would be that you would bite on a alder or birch leaf, and one that another would be to like cut open the birch tree, and you would take the sap and the koivumahla, the wait, I think I might have messed up my notes a bit, but yeah, there's a tree we will Finns would cut open a bit and would drain the some of the water that's inside it and drink it, and it was believed to have healing properties, and people do it to this day because it's a very tasty treat, which is surprising coming from a otherwise fruit tree which bears no fruit nor flowers.
Hmm.
Uh, it, it usually just lets pollen fly in the air. Uh, what was? Oh yeah, I should suppose that various snakes were considered to be sources of power, and especially the common viper is very powerful animal. Well, mostly because it's the only poisonous snake in Finland. So, and because it had a has a stripe on it that looks like lightning, which to the ancient peoples of Finland was considered a very strong omen. Uh, can I get
Strong
some?
omen, as
Oh,
in things that good things will come your way.
uh,
Uh-oh, we lost Joni. Hey, Melissa. How nice you got? You know what? Once he jumps back in, I really want to address this. I'd like to thank everybody again for joining us today. And sorry to hear that, Melissa. Just let you know, Joni, we have Melissa. She's oh wow, Jake's is stricken with a stomach virus. If need be, if you gotta leave to take care of Jake, do so, Melissa. Definitely take care of that boy. And you're a very good mother. But nice having you here. All things considered. All things considered, nice having you here. Um, Joni,
hmm,
is
trying.
your connection doing all right?
Oh yeah, it was just an accidental swipe of the of my screen, and that for some reason just stop made it the it changed
Do you
program.
need a minute to collect yourself to get your get yourself back on track?
Um, trying to remember if I read about a cure for ill stomach here in this book. Would be
Hmm.
appropriate if I just find a spell for curing an ill stomach. The only one that I immediately remember is just for newborns. Uh, if you have a newborn child, and I do mean just newborn, you would take the first poop, dry it, and keep it in a dry spot, and that would give your child a good stomach for the rest of its life.
Hmm. Newborn baby, and you got a cure for that for when the newborn baby gets sick.
Mm. And another thing to do would be to carve out a bit of the part of the door that keeps the wind out, just a small place, and just enough to keep a bit of uh, quicksilver, mercury, or elohopea, living silver, to to and every once in a while give the silver, the quicksilver, just a bit of flour or something, so that it can eat it, and that would give you fortune and health. It doesn't have to be by the door. It would be any dry spot that won't be disturbed. No, well, in modern days, this would be considered a bad idea, as mercury is very dangerous. But back in the day, it was considered to be a living metal, elohopea, living silver.
Okay, you're speaking silver. Now I gotta ask, and you probably think you probably have an idea of what I'm about to ask right now. Do you have any werewolf folklore in Finland?
Surprisingly, not that much. That was more of the shtick of our southern cousins, the Livonians, who had a few werewolves, and our northern Sami cousins, who had more recent memory of old shamanistic traditions. The Sami believed that there, or much like everywhere else, there were three main ways of becoming a werewolf: uh, being bitten would give you the curse. Being if the mother committed some taboo or forbidden act during pregnancy, the child would become a werewolf. And the third um, path would be if a sorcerer used magic to take the shape of a wolf. And taking the shape of a wolf was a bad thing, as wolves were dangerous animals. And they had a belief that if you are in the shape of a wolf and you eat the meat of a deer and drink its blood, you would never again take the shape of a human. But
Sounds way better than us, than our folklore. That sounds
but
that sounds metal.
I I'll get back to that metal thing. But yeah, on a general thing, uh, Finnish peoples believe that it was other nations, other peoples who did magic to turn into werewolves. There is oh yeah, let's see if I can find it in the book. There's the old poem for how Russians would turn into werewolves. Let's see.
Oh, Russians turned to bears.
Yeah, oh, they probably have their werebears as. There's a mention of Sami and some Finnish people or southern Finns turning into bears using sorcery. But here's the poem for uh, Russians turning into werewolves. Uh,
Hang on,
Pahoinpitelyinen. Oh,
hang on, Joni.
oh,
We have a new person with us who I've met yesterday through the Bocellis. We have Max World Entertainment, who is also a YouTuber. If you guys don't know who he is, he does some cool stuff on YouTube. Tell us a little bit about yourself in the comments. I believe your name is Trey. I've only met you once. I don't. You know what? Maybe I should just go by your username just for protection purposes. But Maxwell, tell us a bit about yourself. He's new. He obviously wanted to check out my content because the Pacelli's definitely put in a good work for me to him. But I'll get to the point. Thank you for joining me. Actually, thank you for joining us. Actually, sorry. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, see you in the future with my other scheduled programs. And we have Victoria Fagbow with a question for you, Johnny. She says, "Do Finnish have their own versions of gods?"
oh yeah, yeah. We have very many various gods like Tapio of the god of the forest, and the god of or one of our gods of hunting. He's the god of hunting, or more the god of hunting of, when you use traps and cleverness, whereas another god, or another concept of a hunting god is hiisi. Uh, hiisi is a word that comes very often. We have hiisenlehto, pyhä hiisi, uh, as it probably was a word for holy location or holy meadow or holy thing that's in the forest when there's forest around, but like a clear spot in the middle. What's the word?
Uh, you're thinking of a word.
Uh, maybe, but anyway. So
Keep going. Keep going.
yeah, and we have Nielikki, goddess of the forest. She takes care of all the animals when they get injured. She is the one who heals them. And we have Ahti, god of the sea. Basically, our version of Poseidon, a bit friendlier, not as nasty or quick tempered. Yes, the Finnish gods are
Oh boy,
the Finnish
Poseidon.
god.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, the
I'm
Finnish
sorry.
gods are.
Let me point this out real quick, Yoni. Yeah. We like to talk about Zeus a lot when it comes to Greek mythology, but we not forget Poseidon.
Oh yeah.
Poseidon has his fair share of atrocities too.
Mm.
So yeah, go ahead, continue, Yoni.
Yeah, Finnish gods are usually more chill or calm in comparison to the Greek gods or even the Norse gods, uh, and they didn't ask all that much considered. If you were fishing, you would give an offering of some of your fish uh, when you're when you were done fishing, and before you would go fishing or hunting, you would say a prayer to the god whose domain you would enter or ask enter or do activity in. Uh, let's see. Uh, I can return to the gods later, but yes, there are many heroes and heroines. Uh, Most famous is, of course, Väinämöinen, vaka vanha Väinämöinen, tietäjä, iänikuinen, steady old
That's a
Väinämöinen.
mouthful.
Oh, oh yeah, for some reason, every time I say Väinämöinen, I want to give his whole title. But
Go ahead. Do your
yeah,
thing, Johnny. Do your
mm,
thing.
mm. he, he's he, whereas most Indo-European peoples have warriors or kings, we have a scholar, a searcher of knowledge and information, old magic, and well, he's a great wizard, and he's one of the inspirations for Lord of the Rings as Gandalf. You can find
Hmm.
more information in the last stream, but I suppose I should go continue here. Another important hero is the blacksmith Ilmarinen, who might also have inspired the Wayland Smith of British or English mythology. Uh, Although the etymology on that is a bit more complex, and I don't have the book right in front of me. So, uh, vampires. We don't really have any native vampires that came later. Uh, Probably because during summer there's almost no proper night, no night or darkness. You can some summers, if you're north enough, you get no night. It's daylight 24/7. So that would keep vampires away. And during winter, well, although there was sacred hospitality, would you invite in a person who won't come in on his own if you open the door? But yeah, uh,
So they
things have
still
lots.
you bring that up. Are you saying that the vampires in your folklore also enter doors unless invited. They can't enter homes unless invited.
Uh, because that's a later thing. Native Finns or native Finnish mythology folklore had no vampires that I know of. That came much later during maybe like the 1600s or 1500s. I'm not sure. Let's see if it's mentioned here in the book. But we had trolls and
Ooh, tell me about the trolls.
oh yeah, well here it's a case of we because we were so close to the Norse. People, the Norse believed that we were trolls, but yeah, hence the term Finn
I
troll.
don't mean to laugh. I'm pretty sure that's probably now seen as a racial slur, right?
No, almost nobody remembers it, and although I have this what's the word, trickster attitude that I want somebody to use it on me so I can accuse them of being racist just to see what's gonna happen. uh, let's see.
Maybe Chris Chan.
Yeah, let's
Maybe.
see where is the
You
there's
damn
Jim.
dirty trolls. I'm kidding. Wait, do I get troll privilege? No, I'm kidding. I should stop. I
If I
should
get
stop.
vampyri, let's see. Ei does not belong in Finnish folklore. Let's see. There is a Sami creature that is of slightly similar qualities. Let's see. Stallu. I hope I pronounced that right. I haven't taken a single lesson in Sami, so they have actually like a bunch of languages that used to be related or like mutually intelligible, but because Swedes and Sweden happened, some of these languages have unfortunately died.
That's terrible.
Yeah, let's see.
You might have to repeat yourself about the magic thing, because Victoria Factfile just asked about magic and fantasy
Oh yeah,
and mermaids, of course, and witches.
oh yeah. Let's see. Now I found that one for vampire, but yeah, there are no Finnish sailors who did travel around the world did pick up tales of uh, mermaids, and Finnish sailors were considered very desired as sailors because Finnish sailors had the magic to bring up wind and bring up storms if needed, and Finns would sing and whistle, and Väinämöinen would caution sailors against singing and whistling without the due cause. And even today, Finnish sailors are in very high regard, although not as much as in the days of the windjammers and sailing ships of old. And
Continue talking. I'm gonna give me something to drink.
yeah, uh, well, Finnish people are, at least of my generation, do like fantasy novels, especially because Tolkien took so much inspiration from Finnish mythology and the Kalevala. And one of the first texts Tolkien wrote was about one of our ill-fated heroes, well, more of an anti-hero, almost anti-villain. I suppose most people would call Kullervo an anti-villain. The story of Kullervo is one of Tolkien's books. And Kullervo, well, let's see. I'm gonna need something to put in
I've
my other book.
returned.
Yeah, Kullervo, poor ill-fated Kullervo. He had a very bad luck because his parents, let's see, Untamo and Kalervo had they were brothers, and Untamo and Kalervo were brothers, and Kullervo is the son of, let's see, Kalervo. Let's see,
Hmm.
I think, yeah, yes, the Untamo and Kalervo had a huge argument over when Untamo put his fishing net in Kalervo's waters, and later when
Bless you.
later on, terveydeksi. Kiitos. Oh, that's a very short spell. If you say terveydeksi for your health, that would help the other person to get healthy.
Type it into the chat so that people can check it out.
Yes. I hope this will help your son get better.
No, no, Joni. Joni, let's not get there. We're not there yet.
Yeah, terveydeksi. Well, there was a goat that started eating in the other's field. They started fighting, and Kalervo had to flee, and well, he had to one of his sons was born during the fighting and was taken as hostage by Untamo. Untamo sold Kullervo as a slave, and Kullervo, who ill-fated Kullervo, then was raised in the household of Ilmarinen, and he was too strong. With just a touch, he could crush a boulder or fell a tree. And one day, the wife of Ilmarinen, the Maiden of the North,
Hmm.
baked a stone into Kullervo's bread, and Kullervo accidentally broke his knife, the only memory he had of his father, on the stone, and from this Kullervo went in. He became mad. He summoned wolves and bears to tear the poor Maiden of the North into pieces.
Oh wow.
Yes, and then he fled, and then he found the house of his father, and after some troubles there, he burned his father's home, and
Sounds
then,
tragic.
as he was wandering, he met a beautiful woman, and they had they liked each other very much. Unfortunately, this lady was Kullervo's sister,
Hmm.
and well, incest was considered one of the highest evils one could commit, and then Kullervo, in one of the stories, Kullervo holds up his sword, which was the old sword of Ukko, Ukko Ylijumala, the high god.
Hmm.
And the sword says, "I will enjoy drinking your blood," and some such. And Kullervo took his own life.
Uh, I want to appeal to your inner historian. Have you heard of this YouTube channel called Overly Sarcastic yeah, Overly Sarc. Let me try it
Overly
again.
sarcastic productions. Yeah, for a short while I was subscribed to them, but I at one point I tried taking unsubscribing from channels I wasn't as interested in. Perhaps I should relook at them.
I don't think they've done anything terrible, or at least not that much. I just haven't been had the chance to really like get into their recent work. They did continue to talk about Journey to the West, and I've been very anxious about that return of that story because I know Red didn't complete that story yet, and she has been keeping us posted about it for some time now within their stream part of their channel, and
Hmm.
finally she's done it, but I haven't watched it yet. She still do the trope talks.
Hmm.
Recently she put out Fate Worse Than Death, and I still it's that's one thing I've been missing out because I used to watch her trope talks religiously since she did the talk of the Mary Sue trope, which was really good,
Hmm.
really good. I'm not sure if you checked that one out, but that's a side tangent that I can digress from. Continue what you were saying.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So was pretty much finished with poor, ill-fated Kullervo's tale,
Hmm.
and yeah, he inspired Tolkien in with was it Turin Turambar and oh, what was her name? It's one of the was it unfinished stories? I think, but yeah, there was
Is you saying a character from Tolkien?
yes in one of these other books. It wasn't in the Silmarillion or the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It was one of the unfinished tales that Christopher then put together and
Okay,
edited.
never mind. I didn't
Uh,
look that. I still need to get into the Silmarillion.
yeah, I've tried reading a Silmarillion, but it's uh, it's a bit harder or a bit more in depth than Tolkien's other works. So,
You're saying good luck.
oh, I haven't read it either. So it that goes for both of us. But yes,
Of course, of course.
hmm. Yes, the Stalo is a Sami uh, uh, folkloric myth, half human, aggressive, strong but clumsy and dumb. But it's always carries riches with it. Many Sami claim that they have wrestled with it or beaten it with clever thinking, and thus they've gotten rich. It's
Hmm.
usually it's a very big monster, and you could also detect it by it has a very distinct way of whistling.
Hmm.
Uh, let's see, it has a wife uh,
A
usually
wife?
called yeah. This is the Stalo is apparently a male monster and it has a wife called Lutak. Uh,
I'll have to look that up real quick. Give me the
yeah.
put that in the
Let's
private chat the name the creature's name.
oh yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and the name Lutak means uh, I think it's like a bed bug, Seinälude, that lives
Hmm.
in the walls. Uh, and the Luta and the wife Lutak, she would drink blood with a straw, which is probably where the name comes from. The bed bugs have a like kind of like a trunk that they use to drink blood.
Hmm.
And this more you go into the east, the uh, less human the Stalo and the Lutak would look like. And it might have become have like some been inspired from the an very old Sami word for bear, and that's another thing. In Finnish folklore, you're not supposed to use the name of a bear. You're supposed to use innuendo is quite, perhaps not the right word, but uh, words that talk around. So you're supposed to say Mesikämmen metsänherra, Miidpaa forest lord, or Otso oiva. Otso is like your forehead.
Hmm.
I really like to say Mesikämmen metsänherra. It's a
Is that right?
mm,
Uh, have you? I don't want to. If you don't want to answer this, this might be a bit personal. But have your parents ever told you any bedtime stories? Like
oh
any?
they
Do you
oh
have
they
any
did,
Finnish
but
bedtime stories?
not so much Finnish bedtime stories. Unfortunately, the old traditions aren't quite as quite as in vogue right now as they were even just a century ago, which is really sad because the more people forget to tell old stories, the more old traditions die out.
Hmm. Yeah. Once language is stalled, then yeah, so goes tradition, which is why
Mm,
we're pretty much fighting it here in the states of our language, which is I hate to bring up that this type of talk during a fun stream like this, like social progressives tend to quote unquote redefine words now so that they can mean a whole different thing, and that's really something that we're again trying to protect as best we can. But in
mm,
your case, it's more of a, let's just say, I'm assuming here, by the way, but let's just say this, that they're you say they're forgetting, but it's more of they're just they probably forego just telling the stories altogether and just move on through life, right?
mm, yeah,
You can tell me differently if you like.
yeah. It's like you said, like people just stop telling the old stories, and that's tragedy in of itself. And I really wish
Does
there was
Go
a
ahead. Continue.
cultural, not reformation, but revival, a cultural revival, so that the old stories would be sung again and told again.
Yeah, you guys probably would need museums at least,
Mm,
or wax museum, or I don't know whatever is. I don't. Here I am trying to sound like I'm trying to find a solution here, which I don't think I have a solution. Who knows who any of us have a solution, right?
mm,
That's just
but
me.
yeah,
I try. That's just the inner me that wants to help.
mm,
It's like I see a need and I try to fill a need. But
mm.
let me not talk about myself. Continue. Any more folklore you want to get into?
Samuel Proctor does have a good question. Does Finnish folklore have a sea or lake monster? Well, early on in the stream we had Ikuturso, äijänpoika, partalainen. Ikuturso is, if you can bring back those pictures, is
Yep.
our sea monster, lake monster, a big frog-like or squid-like or even a walrus-like large monster, an old war god that brings death and destruction and is the son with the father of Louhi in some myths, and he is described as a large monster of with a beard that uh, 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 yes, that times described as squid-like, frog-like, and other such things. And he was the dark lord of the sea, if you will. And he and there was there's an old tradition that don't swim far into the lake because even though it's a lake, Ikutursa can swim in up through the underworld and grab you and take you and drown you. And there are more common lake monsters of Näkki. Probably they are a Finnish version of the Scandinavian Nökken,
Quick question
Näcken,
about eco Torsen.
Ikuturso.
Tor- Sorry, eco. Yeah, excuse me. Eco Torso. Do you think he inspired George R. R. Martin with the Drowned God?
I wouldn't be surprised because George R. R. Martin, as much as he um, denies it, I think he's jealous of Tolkien, and I wouldn't be surprised if he looked in at the same sources he did. And
Me neither. I wouldn't be surprised either.
yeah, and as much as I doubt it, I wouldn't be surprised if H.P. Lovecraft might have read a mention of Ikuturso somewhere and taken inspiration from that. But that's just a reaching theory that I don't even myself believe in.
I like to say it came from. It had to come from somewhere.
Mm,
Not everything's original, or at least
mm.
not everything is traditionally original. It's gotta be inspired by something.
Yeah. Then again, H.P. Lovecraft had a dislike and fear of the sea and sea creatures. So maybe it's a case of uh, mythological fictional convergent evolution. But it's awfully funny how much they look like each other, or our descriptions match. That is, I wouldn't be surprised if uh, many of these artists have taken inspiration from Cthulhu when they draw Ikuturso. Oh, and
Are you feeling
oh,
well, by the way? Because I know
oh,
you mentioned earlier that you're not, you're recovering from your illness.
yeah, the flu is on the better path, but it's still just a bit, uh, but it's still there, just a bit. Uh, Perhaps I should look this book for a cure for flu at one point. Thank you, Melissa. Uh, yes, I can write it in the public chat so people can uh, look it up. And the reason I mentioned that Ikuturso might be a old war god because there are mentions of turisas, tursas. That's an old word for squid or like uh, squid and octopuses. And another reason why I mentioned walruses is that it has also been used for walruses. So squid, walruses, mix those together and you get ikuturso. And the war god Turisas might be a Fennified form of Tur Sas, Tur Asa, Asa Tur.
Asator?
Because yes, Asa Thor.
Asathor.
Yes, from Norse mythology. Uh,
Ah,
yes, I used the more Swedish pronunciation of Tor, Thor,
Tor.
Tor. Yeah.
Tor.
With that's and it's from the Swedish word tur, which we get one Finnish word for luck, tuuri. The other Finnish word for luck, onni, is also our word for happiness. Onni, onnellinen, uh, which I suppose speaks about something of the Finnish mentalities if luck and happiness are the same thing.
Hmm.
Although we have a phrase of oman onnensa seppä, uh, which I could translate as be the smith of your own happiness.
The smith of your own happiness.
Yeah.
Words to live by.
Mm. Uh,
Victoria Fatball has a question here. She says, it might be weird question, but do Finnish have their own version of anime manga? If so, what it's called?
uh, we don't have like a separate word for like. Uh, oh, we do have comic books, and I think there have been a few like completely Finnish original like animations, but none immediately come to mind. But the Finnish word for uh, comic book is sarjakuva, series pictures. And since we're on the subject of folklore and myth, I did recently purchase two comic book comic book versions of the Kalevala by Sami. Let's see, is it Makkonen or Mäkkinen? It's very important to have like those A's and O's separately. Let's see, and it seems to be Makkonen. Let's see, I can write it in the public chat. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure if this has a English release yet, but there we go. I haven't yet had the opportunity to read this, but the art is amazing. I should see if I can get the video working so I can show you some of it. And there another author that has made very many children's books is Mauri Kunnas, and he has
Hmm.
made a children's version of the Kalevala of Koirien Kalevala, uh, the dogs Kalevala. Let's see them go. Uh, Cam, let's see. Oh dear. Pay no attention to
Oh,
the.
hello, Joni.
Uh, uh,
We can barely say you're a bit off center. There you
uh,
go.
let's see.
Almost. Pull it back. Pull it back.
There we
Some
go.
more. Okay, we got it.
Yeah, yeah. This
Kalevala.
is. Yeah. Let's see. Let's. Oh, here
It's
we
not.
probably.
Go ahead.
Oh, here we got have the crafting of the sampo. I think. And this must be Väinämöinen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Let's see. There we go. Camera off.
By the way, just to let everybody know, Sound Engraver has started a stream just now, and it's the 10 traditional songs, or at least Easter performance. Um, Joni, would you
Mm.
are you still wanting to keep going, or do you want us to start wrapping up and continue this maybe next Sunday?
Oh
If
yeah,
I'm
yeah. I
not
can.
well, I need to I need to address this as well. My work is supposedly starting somewhere in April. I'm not sure if Sunday's gonna be possible though, because I'll be there in the morning and won't be out until like sometime in the late afternoon. Sadly, um, we'll touch base. No,
Yeah,
wait, Melissa. What's your answer on this one, Johnny? You want us to
uh,
wrap up?
yeah. There's a word for dragon, lohikäärme, which, if you directly translate it, it's a salmon snake, but it's come from louhin käärme, snake of louhi, and Finnish dragons we can from that surmise were originally very big snakes with nasty temper and probably poison breath.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Poison breath.
yeah,
There
uh,
was a dragon on Dark Souls that had poison breath, but it was a dead. It was a zombie dragon
mm,
actually.
yeah.
But I'm saying that because that's what it reminded me of when you brought that up. So,
Hmm. Yeah, it's very similar to the Norse lindworm, uh, lindworm, which is a type of Norse dragon, which it's, as I mentioned, it's just a very big snake with uh, nasty temper and attitude. The other Norse dragons could also speak, which I don't remember any Finnish dragons doing. And
hmm,
Norse dragons didn't always start out as dragon. I mean, Fafnir began as a basically a what dwarf, and then became dragon because of his greed.
greed, you say?
Yeah,
Huh. So, yeah. Oh wow. I think I. Oh wow. I opened up a can of worms that people start dipping out when they think we're about ready to start wrapping up.
yeah, yeah.
We're
I,
still going, guys. Don't worry. We're still going.
but I understand
I
why,
was.
why people are starting to leave. That as soon as somebody mentions leaving, then people are like, yeah, yeah, it's time to stop. And I suppose we could.
I think. Yeah. You know what? I think it is time. I mean, if anything, I'd rather you continue to recover from your illness. We can pick this back up some other time. I'll let you know if anything changes during the week.
Hmm,
So I'll keep you posted definitely. If Sunday is still doable on my end, so that
hmm,
we can continue this talk. Because I this truth be told, this was a very enlightening topic to discuss, especially again when we're on the aspect of this series sharing culture.
yes, thank you.
And I'm pretty sure
Whew,
you've been wanting to talk about this for the longest time.
yeah,
Definitely. So uh, I'm glad I'm opening that door for you as well. So um, yeah, you know what? Let's start wrapping things up. I dang it, I think I sabotaged myself, but eh,
yeah, it
I
happens.
kid, I kid, I kid. I'm kidding. But I like to again. Big surprise for those who did join us. We had seven, almost eight viewers today of all days, the Easter Sunday. I was originally I was a bit worried because, as I mentioned before, my timing is is always impeccable when it comes to making streams like this. Having these type of topics on certain holidays that pop up on Sunday of all places. So I'm glad that those of you had joined us and listened in to Yoni talking about his culture, speak through his folklore. Would you be willing to talk about Finnish dishes, like food culture? I mean,
Uh, well, yes, but I have to admit I haven't done very much traditional cooking, so perhaps it would be a
mm,
learning experience for my as for me as well. But perhaps we should uh, keep it more for myth and folklore and keep that as a like a
right.
side dish for the stream. Perhaps, but that we could like perhaps start with and
maybe
then
maybe Samuel might know a dish or two.
he
Maybe.
might. He might. We'll have to ask him if he's interested.
Yeah. So definitely, I would love to hear. I would love. Obviously, you through much of what you told me from the last stream and this stream, I'm now more interested in Finland, uh, s- any kind of Finland, like definitely more of your history, of course, like you've done in the previous stream, and even more folklore, which I'm pretty sure you'll have enough time to look into more, so you can have more notes and you can bring to the table more as well.
Mhm.
Definitely want hear more about this because what you told me so far is very intriguing, and obviously our listeners have participated in the chat. You got them curious basically. you done so well that you got them curious, and that is a true testament to your ability to you know to how should I say this,
To tell
educate, I
tales and
guess.
education works well to educate, to tell tales, and bring out the uh, wonders of imagination.
And it seems that Brian Gil Martin has some ideas I guess if he wants to get into some more stories, he wants. It seems like he wants to incorporate some Finnish folk tales,
Yeah,
or maybe introduce some characters inspired by characters from Finnish folklore.
yeah.
So that being said, again, I'd like to thank Joni for joining me today, and I'd like to thank all my all my UN Spacey Wolf Fleet for joining us on a specific day, which again warms my heart that you guys were to join us despite the celebration that's happening, of course. And like I said, I never want to take anybody away from celebrating Easter or spend time with family. I never want to take away, but I am still glad that you guys did show up, and it's always welcome, of course. So with that being said, sign us out, Joni.
Kiitos
That'll be your
kaikista
cue.
tänne tulleista. Thank you everybody who came and watched us. This is Artificer Joni. Terve, terve ja moi moi. Hello, hello and goodbye.
That, I love that. I love that thing you do, man. This has been your Wolf Commander. I am your world. This has been WCR, and you guys have a good Easter, and do be safe out there and enjoy that dinner. Enjoy your family, and of course, say a prayer for anybody. Say a prayer for me. Say a prayer for Joni. Just, spread nothing but love and positivity is all I'm saying. And that, with that being said, take care, everybody. Ow!